Sarah J Maas broke the internet today. Book divas, strap in because we're going to be unpacking it all. And in case you've been living under a rock for the past 12 hours, Sarah J Maas dropped the covers and the titles for ACOTAR Book 6 and 7. She pulled a Taylor Swift, completely deleted her social media, except for a couple of things which we'll talk through later, dropped some mystery images on her website, and then confirmed ACOTAR 6 and 7. So ACOTAR 6 is a court of splintered harmony, and ACOTAR 7 is a court of forgotten melody. Now, hint, both of these are related to music. That's important for later. Also, we got the blurbs as well, and oh my god. One thing is definitely confirmed, this is related to the Valkyrie because we've now know that it is split into parts. Getting part 1, part 2 and 3, which also confirms we're going to be getting a 4th part at some point in the future, aka ACOTAR Book 8. Now, I read ACOTAR back in lockdown and I'm definitely going to need a reread because from those blurbs, I can't remember what happened. I remember like most of the story, but I definitely can't remember the intricacies. It hasn't been until people start to deep dive, then I kind of remember stuff. And it has sent the entire internet into a frenzy because now everyone is trying to read the entire Maasverse, which I personally won't be doing. I'm 100% going to be doing an ACOTAR reread before Book 6 comes out, but I am not pushing myself to read Crescent City and finish off Throne of Glass before Book 6. I'm going to do it in between the break of 6 and 7. And the reason why everyone keeps saying that you must read, you don't need to. If you want a fully immersive experience, of course, read them all, but you don't need to. There might be some Easter eggs, there might be some bits that you don't understand. Probably, in my case, there will be because I haven't read Crescent City yet, but I don't need to because the books already exist. I can read them whenever I want. It doesn't make any difference whether or not I'm going to read them before ACOTAR 6 or read Crescent City after ACOTAR 6, then reread ACOTAR 6 before ACOTAR 7 coming out. That's my plan because we're already going to have between October to January for the 2 ACOTARs anyway. A girlie's going to be reading a lot of stuff and going to be forgetting things. I also think people have forgotten the fact that ACOTAR Book 6 is significantly smaller than ACOTAR Book 7. So that indicates to me that's the majority of where the story is going to be. Because ACOTAR Book 6 is bigger than A Court of Frost and Starlight, but smaller than ACOTAR. So to give you a visual representation, it is somewhere between these two. It is bigger than the blue one, but smaller than the red one. So do I really need to read all of these books before ACOTAR 6? Probably not. If I want an immersive reading experience, yeah. If you want an immersive reading experience, why not? Don't need to. The internet's got to stop with that because ACOTAR Book 7 is about this size. So again, that's where the majority of the story is going to be. Now let's do a deep dive into the theories for each book based on what everyone's talking about right now. Starting off with A Court of Splintered Harmony. The graphic on book number 6 is definitely giving the bone carver vibes, and I think that's what everyone picked up on. But also the title is giving that there's unrest within the Night Court, which we kind of suspect anyway from the synopsis. The blurb does kind of hint at that, and we do get a little bit of that with Nesta and Rhys in A Court of Silver Flames. She doesn't want to bow down to that king, and we already do know that Nesta's a little bit of a rebel. So could there be more unrest coming with other people in the Night Court? Who knows? We're not going to know until we read it. But it also does kind of prove it with the book being smaller than the 7th one, that it is more the introduction book of what's happened in the world since Court of Silver Flames, ahead of the war, the uprising that is obviously going to be in book 7. And that's all I've pretty much seen in terms of theories for book 6. So let's deep dive into book 7 because I didn't realise it when the covers first dropped because I haven't finished Throne of Glass, but this spider is actually a Throne of Glass reference. It is the Stygian spider, which is a Throne of Glass reference. Considering I'm up to Queen of Shadows, I've either completely glanced over that or it hasn't happened yet. And this is where the Maasverse starts to crossweave into each series, which is why there's such a rush of everyone saying, you must read this, you must do this. And again, it's why I'm waiting to do my reread between the break of 6 to 7 because I don't think it's going to be too important before book 6. Crescent City might turn out to be, but who knows? If it is, I'll just reread it. It doesn't matter. A Court of Forgotten Melody is giving Dusk Court. That is what everyone is guessing about, and it also relates to Gwyn. But of course, this is the Valkyrie story, so could this be the rise of the Valkyries? And could this lead into Nesta's betrayal for book 6 into leading the war or helping out whoever's starting the war in number 7? We already know Nesta's quite a complex character, but I feel like she's going to be quite a pinnacle. I do feel like she is related to this rebellion somehow. But there's also a weave on the spider, and I know spiders weave, but also there is the weaver from ACOTAR. These are all making sense to me. Let's not forget about the stars as well, because Nesta has an 8-pointed star tattooed on her. Oh my god, my brain is fried. Of course, we're not actually going to know what the plot is until we can read book 6 and 7. Up until now, we're all just guessing, we're all just making theories. Coming back to my point about Crescent City, I know that everyone keeps saying that you do need to read it before number 6. I am not pushing myself to read it. Those books are chunky. I've got 2 months. On top of it also being a mega release, 2 months of every single book to decide to come out before ACOTAR releases. I don't want to feel pressured to finish Crescent City just for the sake of ACOTAR book 6. I'm going to read ACOTAR book 6 and then finish off my Throne of Glass read and start reading Crescent City in between the break of the two. But the reason why a lot of people are also saying about Crescent City is because, I'm sorry if this might be a slight spoiler for you, obviously I don't know the plot because I haven't read it yet, but Nesta meets Bryce, they have an exchange in Crescent City. I already know that, I've seen spoilers of it, the book's been out long enough, of course we can't avoid spoilers. But also on Sarah J Maas's Instagram, it is the only video other than her Call Her Daddy podcast that she has left up on her page. So when you first go on Instagram, you'll see the 2 new covers as the main post, as the photos. Scroll across to the videos, you've got the Call Her Daddy podcast, and then you've also got Crescent City 3. She is literally Taylor Swift in book form, I swear to God. And in between the time of ACOTAR book 6, more and more theories are going to keep coming out, especially as people do rereads, and they're going to be looking for those Easter eggs in the books that they might have missed on the first read. For me, my main focus is just rereading this lot before ACOTAR 6 comes out. And no one should make me feel guilty for that, and you should also not make anyone feel guilty for that. If you're doing a full reread, good for you. You do it. Have that multiverse experience. But the world's not going to end if me and other people don't read the entire multiverse before ACOTAR book 6. So that's everything we learned so far about ACOTAR book 6 and 7. Of course, I'll keep my nose to the grindstone and find out any more information that I can. I'm actually going to be documenting my ACOTAR reread as someone who reading it 5 years on from when they first read it. Plus, if you're a Substack reader, I'm also dropping some articles on there, so go check that out. But the main thing is, enjoy these new releases. This is super, super exciting. And if you're someone that doesn't like Sarah J Maas, you're someone that doesn't like ACOTAR, please don't dim the light of others just because they enjoy it. We all read different things, we all love different things, and considering this is one of the biggest book releases of the year, just let people have their moment. So until next time, Book Divas, I'll catch you later.